All right, thank you all. Make this as brief as I can. Just a few updates. A lot of what I've done over the last month is part of the rest of the agenda, or should the budget, took up a lot of it. My team's time. Anyway, collection development updates. This still refers back to the original 140 titles, now infamous 140 titles. In my last report, there were 42 titles deemed harmful and 51 deemed unharmful, according to the law, with approximately 30 titles remaining to be reviewed. The discrepancy with the original total of 140 is due to the fact that some of the titles are either no longer part of the collection or lost or damaged. So you have to keep in mind that the original list was made when we were part of CIN, and then now we're obviously not. So in the time from the original creation of the list, the 140 titles is a bunch of ink on a piece of paper, but what was actually on the shelves in my office or now in the collection development manager's office was more fluid and fluctuating. So just so people don't get too caught up in the 140. But anyway, the breakdown as of today is actually 90 titles are designated as harmful and will be processed for the mature content collection. 21 titles are still pending final review. There were 14 titles that are not in the CLN collection. I'm just giving these numbers so you can all add it up to 140 if you want. But I still need to kind of figure out where the other 15 are. So 90, 21, 14, 15, I think is 140. So just to reiterate, those more of those ones that were deemed unharmful in the first round, holders and some of those that were remaining had a second look from my collection development manager and myself, and mostly my collection development manager. And so that's up to 90 now. So 9 titles are designated as harmful under the law. Those are being moved. They're being moved to the mature content collection. 21 titles still pending review. And then I'll find out where the other ones are eventually when I close out that project. But as soon as the technical services department, moves these items to the mature content collection, it'll be a lot easier for everybody who's interested in this project to find that. When people ask for the list, if it doesn't exist, it's technically not a public record, but then I can, create a list based on what I'm looking at on our shelf. But when it's all said and done, the easiest thing for people to do will be just a, location search in the catalog itself, and they can see what's in the content collection. But right now it's up to 90. That doesn't include the 16 from the previous request. So I guess it's 106. There were 16 titles that were requested for relocation, if you remember that. So yeah, so that'll be an update as soon as it might be depends on how long technical services takes to process. By processing, they're gonna have to relabel it and recatalog it in the system. So eventually that room, which has been there for a while, rightfully so, will eventually be filled with, not filled, but contain stuff. The compliance with the law was the purpose of the first round, and this obviously will always continue. The second round is to ensure that the minor collection serves the community within which the library exists, as expressed through the community needs assessment survey, and of course through the officials that the community elected to govern their library. Consequently, the collection development department will be looking at subjects mentioned by our community as inappropriate for the minor collection. For example, non-explicit sexual content, witchcraft and the occult, graphic violence, and political ideologies. Again, it is important to reiterate that the mature content collection is reserved only for material that violates the Children's School and Library Protection Act. For other inappropriate materials, we rely upon our material selections and acquisition policy for guidance. Titles that have inappropriate content as opposed to illegal content will be relocated to the general collection, thereby providing parents with freedom and authority to choose the level of access that they deem best for their child. Families will know clearly what the standards are for the minor collection, as well as what the standards are for a public library's general collection, and can choose accordingly for their children. Just a quick marketing update. The marketing department has distributed the new Discovery magazine, which I think all the board members got, as well as our strategic plan brochure, thanks to Megan Ward for all her work to make this happen. These materials are available to trustees should you need them for speaking engagements or an event that you would like to have them for. The first edition of Discovery coincides with what was formerly our summer reading guide, and programming and events will be a major part of the magazine. However, we hope that Discovery can be much more than that for our community moving forward, and so I welcome trustee input on ideas for Discovery content at any time. So as you get to you get a feel for the magazine and what it can do in the community and what your constituents give you feedback. Feel free to reach out and say, hey, it'd be nice to have a page that said this or that or whatever content you would like to see in there. It's not just the CLN magazine, but it's the board of trustees who runs the CLN. So if you have ideas for what the magazine could contain, it's not just meant to be a program guide. It's meant to be a marketing tool for the whole district and all that we do. Along with the strategic plan brochure, there is a strategic plan page on our website, which we will use to keep the community up to date on our accomplishments. So it's not super convenient to republish things as we accomplish things. So that brochure is kind of the standard for the 4-year period. But on the website, if we accomplish something, we'll somehow highlight that, so that people can see more a living document of over the next 4 years as we try and peg off each of our goals and objectives. So that would be the best place to go if you want to see any sort of change to the document. But this one is more of a marketing piece, to be able to use in the community. Just a couple of things. There will be a 50th anniversary celebration for the CLN on Saturday, November 14th. More information is forthcoming. Thanks again to Megan and the team that will be working on this event. So we struck a team up and we're going to be working on the celebration, which will be at Hayden. It'll be at the Hayden branch. And then also there'll be an annual staff day on December 4th. So I think some of you will remember that from last time we did that. So there'll be an annual staff day on December 4th. And just finally, some human resource updates. As a result of some internal human resource developments, our collection development manager has taken on the role of technical services librarian. That's actually one of the job descriptions coming up later. The new collection development manager is Rebecca Rhodes, who was recently brought in as the Rathrum branch manager. Casey Peters has moved from Apple to become the new Rathrum branch manager, and we currently have an opening for a branch manager at Apple. Our new human resource specialist, Amanda Miller, will be starting on June 1st, and we are still in search of a combined adult and youth programming specialist to serve both Harrison and Pinehurst. So that's a bit of a unique type of position, so we're still trying to get some quality candidates for that. And that is the end of my report.